rocking it now. Okay, so we got Jeff Webb, Paula Murphy, and
everybody but Ruthie.
All right, well, let's get it rolling.
All right, Scott, we are live. All right, Joel.
Okay, you just want me to go ahead and
Yes.
begin here? See, I took a month off and I forget what I'm doing. All right, so this is the November 3rd, 2021 meeting of the City of Charleston Board of Zoning Appeals Site Design. Present are Amanda Barton, Jennifer DeCientis, Jeff Webb, Paula Murphy, myself, Joel Adrian. Present from planning staff, Eric
Kelvin.
Oh, Kelvin's here too?
Yes.
All right, Kelvin and Kelvin Eugene. Present from the planning staff is Eric Schultz. Is Lee Batchelder on?
No.
Okay. These proceedings are being recorded. We ask that those who speak identify themselves for the record. We will conduct the meeting in usual fashion. We will first receive information from city staff about the application and their recommendation. If the recommendation is favorable and no one objects to the application, usually the Board of Zoning Appeals treats the matter as being uncontested and passes it as a matter of course. If, however, the city recommends against the application or there is opposition to the application, treat the application as contested and hear from the applicant and anyone else who is in favor of the application. Next, we hear from anyone opposed, followed by a short rebuttal from the applicant. We will then close the public hearing portion of the meeting for that particular application and open discussion to the Board of Zoning Appeals members only. We'll then make a decision to approve with conditions, or deny the application. Board of Zoning Appeals Site Design has the authority to do three things. 1, hear appeals to decisions of the zoning administrator. 2, grant special exceptions, a fact-finding function of the board. And 3, grant variances to the zoning ordinance if the application meets the hardship test outlined in section 54(9)24 of the ordinance. The board may deliberate, make a final decision on a matter by a majority vote of members present at the hearing and qualified to vote, provided that not less than a quorum are present and qualified to vote. For a variance to be granted, the Board of Zoning Appeals must make the following findings. A, that there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. B, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. C, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. And D, the authorization of a variance will not be a substantial detriment to the adjacent property or to the public good. The character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. And with that, it'll go back to Schultz.
Okay, very good. I want to just go back. I want to kind of do an abbreviated virtual meeting protocol because I know some things don't have to occur tonight. So staff will control the slides displayed throughout the meeting. Applicants, staff, board members, and members of the public should give their name first whenever speaking. Applicants and members of the public must be sworn in before speaking for the first time. Only attendees who registered to speak before the deadline at noon today may speak during the meeting. Video and microphone have been disabled for all attendees. Attendees will only be given the capabilities to speak when they are called on during the public comment period. I don't believe anybody has to recuse themselves. There will be no executive session. Chat has been disabled for everyone. And of course, this meeting is being recorded. So public comment. Order on each application. The chair announces each application followed by staff presentation and recommendation. Staff will call on applicant to present their application after being sworn in by the chair. Staff will open up the public comment period to receive comments from registered attendees in favor, first spoken, then written. Each speaker will be sworn in by the chair. Staff will then recognize registered attendees for public comments in opposition. After the speaker is sworn in, first spoken, then written, staff will recognize the applicant for a short rebuttal. And the chair will then close the public comment period and begin board discussion. Providing comment, I have nobody that has registered to speak. Your microphone will be disabled after you're done speaking. You may only speak once. Okay. So board discussion following public comment period. board members can make comments, ask questions, and make motions. After a motion and a second, board members will vote aye in favor, nay, not in favor. If the vote is not unanimous, the chair will poll each member for their vote. The chairman will announce the vote on the motion and the final decision on the application. I don't believe anybody has to recuse, and there will be no executive session. So, board members, I sent you out. I hope you had a chance to glance at the September 1. I did not have that on the October meeting. So that's what you see here. This is the minutes for the December 1, 2021 meeting. And then what you see here are the minutes from the October 6, 2021. So you can elect to make a motion on both or separate them, Mr. Chairman. You're muted, Joel.
I say we could go ahead and do them separately. I wasn't present at the meeting last month, so
That makes sense. That makes sense. So September 1.
I missed 2 months in a row.
Okay.
yes, sir. I don't see any issue with the September minutes. If somebody wanted to make a motion on that and second it, we could do a vote.
I'll make a motion for approval of the September minutes.
A second.
All right, so motion by Ms. Murphy, seconded by Mr. Yuji. And I guess I'll just do it this way. If anybody's not in favor, say nay, not in favor. If everybody's in favor, say aye in favor.
Aye in favor.
I in
I in
favor.
favor.
I in favor.
Aye in favor. Okay, so that is unanimous passing. And everybody voted except for Amanda,
I
correct?
did, because I wasn't there.
Right.
If that, I don't know if that matters with the approval of the minutes or not.
I think it should. So, and then the October 6 minutes, who acted as chair last meeting?
Kelvin did, and he did a wonderful job.
All right, Calvin, good job. So, Calvin, do you see any issues with the October 6 minutes or anybody?
No, I do not. I do
Okay,
not.
then let's go, whoever was present at that meeting, if y'all would make a motion in second.
I'll make a motion for approval of the minutes.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, so the motion for approval by Mr. Webb, second by Mr. Yuji. We'll do the same thing. Actually, just whoever is in favor, say aye in favor.
Aye in favor.
I in favor.
I in favor.
All right. And anybody
So again,
against?
So again, that's 5-0 with Joel not being there, right?
Because Amanda wasn't all either.
Wasn't
So,
there either.
I was not
Oh.
there either. Paula
Okay,
Murphy.
so it was 3-0 on that one.
okay.
But everybody that was present today voted in favor of the motion.
Right.
So that'll bring
Okay.
us to our first item B1.
Yes.
All right, so item B1 is 102 President Street. The application number is 211103B1. The TMS number is 46011040023. Requests a variance from section 54-327 to allow the removal of one protected tree. It is zoned MU-2 WH.
Very good. This is the applicant for application for 102 President, owner Dillon Development Partners, applicant Seaman Whiteside. This is their description of the hardship test, or how they meet the hardship test. The location of the property is on the corner of Cannon and President, the southeast corner. Two properties were actually rezoned, but they're not using that small little square on the southern end. So City Council ratified the rezoning to MU2 workforce housing that allows mixed use residential densities as long as you can park it. And also the hope is to provide workforce housing units. Today, you can see that it's a vacant lot used as a parking lot. It's gravel. The tree, you see the shadow, it's on the very north end, right at the back of the sidewalk, and there's a fence there. Our code says that every tree 8 inches in diameter is protected. It is 11.5. And then the code further goes on to say that because it's within 25 feet of the property line and they can't maintain it, it requires a variance to remove. So you see it here in Google shot. This is, it's winter time, so it's not, doesn't have its foliage, but it's to the left. The project is quite large. It actually was awarded, I guess is the proper term, an additional story. So it's a parking deck with multiple levels of residential housing units, with the ground floor being activated by a little bit of retail space. You can see that the means of ingress egress is on the southern end on President Street, and the tree is yellow there. It's because of the number of stories, we're asking for wider sidewalks, and BAR did not exactly dictate the setback, but you can see there's columns, a loggia type thing. It's open underneath and then covered over top. That's a blow up that I want to provide you all. So those dark squares are like columns that hold the levels above, and then some interesting pavement patterns and steps and ramps to get into the building. So here we have it with foliage. Pretty recent pictures, I guess, because it's relatively young. It hasn't succumbed to the hackberry blight or whatever is running through the city, affecting hackberries. You can see it's right behind the fence. This is a short little blurb from the consulting arborist with natural directions. Staff recommends approval with the conditions to plant 10 caliber inches. That's what the code recommends. 10 caliber inches, and then must provide a landscape plan for staff review and approval. So with that said, well, our attendees are 2 individuals, Gregory Dillon with Dillon Development and Mike Kittrell with Seaman and Whiteside. So if we could promote those individuals. Good evening, Mike and Gregory. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, I want to turn
Hi,
it over
everyone.
to the chair to swear you in.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. Mike Gregory, do y'all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Gregory? Gregory, you're muted.
Yes, sorry
Okay.
about that.
Fantastic. The floor is yours. Go ahead and begin your presentation.
Okay. Well, I think Eric really covered that well.
Mike, your
Yes.
name and address, please.
Oh, sorry. My name is Mike Kittrell. I'm a landscape architect with Seaman Whiteside. We are asking for a variance for the removal of the hackberry in question, 11.5 inch, graded a C, as well as the 15 protected trees per acre requirement. And as far as the site goes, it is just over a half an acre. At this time, that is the only tree on the site. So it's currently not meeting that 15 trees per acre requirement as is. And it's, as Eric said, a surface parking lot. So moving into the conditions, the first, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. This property is extraordinary in that it's located on the corner of President and Cannon in a very urban situation. It will take up the building itself, being the size that it is, will take up almost the entire parcel. And that is to meet sort of those urban standards from the BAR that that we want to meet to create an urban streetscape type of feeling in that area. This is common for infill projects downtown. These conditions do not generally apply to other properties in the vicinity. The one special thing about this project is that it is fairly small in comparison to other projects with a similar type of use to them. So in this case, it would be the size of this property. Because of these conditions, the application of ordinance to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Well, the location of the existing tree would definitely restrict the building of configuration of this property. As Eric pointed out, it does fall within that loggia area, right directly on the supports for that. And in order to reach the capacity for that building, there's really no way to adjust around that particular tree. And the fact that its condition is not at a peak A or B level, we just feel it's justified. The authorization of the variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent properties. We do not feel that this will be of any detriment to the neighboring properties. As a matter of fact, we feel that this development is going to be quite an enhancement. It not only will replace a surface lot with a really nice development, but it also will be a great investment for the greater city as a whole. And then I guess as you move through, we just go through, I mean, really, Eric covered it with the images of the tree. And so I believe that's everything that I have to say.
Thank you. Sorry about my son. Come January when we're in person, that won't happen. Was it Gregory? Did you want to add anything, or President?
I guess the only thing I'd like to add is, we're developers that we like to engage the street in our developments, which we were happy that to widen the sidewalk there to the 10-foot width, and also provide for the colonnade, which is really what is challenged by the existing tree. And the colonnade does sit within the borders of the property line, but it will give the pedestrians an opportunity to, sit along the colonnade as well in shade, as opposed to always being out by the street. So it's just a great environment for the folks of Charleston.
Okay, wonderful. Eric, I think you said earlier there were no public comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we received nobody registered to speak pro or con for the board. Did we receive any public comment?
Okay, then we will close this application to the public. It'll be open to the board for discussion. And I'll do a quick little start. I mean, it's a hackberry tree, grade C, or form forked, as the arborist says. This is tough because I would say, I don't see an issue with removing the tree. I think this is the cart before the egg thing. It's or the chicken before the egg that BAR is saying, this is what we want. The tree is there. Because I mean, I would say that the hardship is what the BAR is telling them they need to put on site to work within their urban purview or design. Because when you go through a hardship test, I don't know that it's met. I mean, the site's big, but you don't have to take up every square inch of the site. But I would support the removal based off of what's being required by BAR.
Well, I think that's one case. I think the other case to be made for the hackberries is that we do have that disease in the hackberries. So eventually it could well get it. I guess now they bought the lot adjacent, so that must be where your construction trailer is going and possibly some laydown. Mike? Kittrell?
Oh, sorry, I guess I was muted. Greg, would you agree with that statement? You may be muted as well.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So are you thinking about your replanting would be on the east side of the building between that and the existing condos next door?
We actually have replantings around the entire building.
Oh, so you get a little street.
Some of them are in the sidewalk tree
Yeah, those
wells,
don't count. Yeah. Mhm.
right? And then we're adding trees along the southern elevation, and we're adding some shrubs along the eastern elevation.
Okay.
All right.
I make a motion, we move to approve with staff recommendations.
I second that.
Sorry, who was that? Is that you, Paula?
Yes, it was.
Okay, is there any discussion or do we want to go to vote? I'm going to say we'll go to vote. So the motion is for approval with staff conditions by Ms. Barton, seconded by Ms. Murphy. I'm just going to go down the roll real quick. Amanda,
Aye in favor.
Jennifer,
Aye in favor.
Jeff,
Aye in favor.
Paula,
I in favor.
and Mr. Calvin.
I in favor.
Mr. Adrian is aye in favor also, so that would be unanimous approval, 6-0. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you. So
Yes, that concludes our meeting.
That concludes the meeting. Yes, sir. So,
Is that a record?
That,
What's
that
that?
could be, and it's 5:24.
again, we
It's
appreciate,
close.
your time. Stay tuned. I'll feed you information as I learn it about going back in person. Next month is a little unsure how many items. It was a very light submittal, but we've had some things deferred in the past that may be coming in December. So